thank you. I got the rights. I'm going to share my screen, everyone. Uh, I would suggest you, if you have any doubt or any query in between my presentation or the topics, we can talk at the last also, and you can ask the question during the session also. So let me just share my screen. Can I switch on my camera also? Okay, now I can see myself. Thank you so much. Um, uh, it's like a very good platform here. I have a very young generation with me as an audience, and I'm privileged that if a single person is got influenced by this session, this session would be very I would say that it's a successful session. So let me just share my screen and introduce myself. Share my PPT. Please raise your hand if you can see me, my PPT, as well as you are able to hear me. Okay, thank you so much for your quick response, everyone. Bhavna, Chaman, Sachin, thank you so much. Harshit, Devansh. So it's really nice to know that you people are hearing me. So basically, this is the session organized by Echelon Institute under the IIC cell of their college or institution. And today's topic is innovation and prototype validation. Actually, we are going to convert the innovation into the startup, or we can say that I'm going to take you through the process, the journey from the start of the idea and the process of validation then. So here I am as a Dr. Poonam Chaudhary. I'm assistant professor in CSC and in the North Cap University, Gurugram. And I have multiple role responsibilities. I do lots of sessions also. I am actually IIC ambassador also from my university, just like Dr. Monica. I'm also data science lead here and responsible. I'm also the secretary for the IIC cell of the North Cap University. I have participated in multiple hackathons, and my students have got first, second, third prize almost in every hackathon we have participated. So it's like we are happening to start to startup also. So basically, in my previous institution, I have guided 4 startups, and they got the funding also, and they have started their startup also. So it's my privilege that I can work with their young entrepreneurs and can help them to start their journey of entrepreneurship. So as the word came into this particular part, that entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, so I would like to define it. What is entrepreneur? What is entrepreneurship? And nowadays, as you people know, that the term artificial intelligence or industry 4.0 web 4.0 has came into the existence. This entrepreneurship is more about the technopreneurship. So basically, entrepreneurship is the ability and readiness to develop and organize and run a business enterprise along with any of its uncertainty in order to make a profit. So the word entrepreneur actually originates from the French word entrepreneur, which means to undertake. So in the business context, it means to start a business, which gives you a profit in the terms of obviously money, but in the terms of social responsibility, in the terms of uh, ethics responsibility too. So the Merriam-Webster dictionary presents the definition of entrepreneur as one who actually organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of business or enterprise. So as I told you, the technology came into the existence, and in every field, the technology, specifically the artificial intelligence technology, has been interpreted for the development of the products. So the term technopreneurship, the technology-based entrepreneurship is known as your technopreneurship. In economics, Entrepreneurship connected with the land, labor, natural resources, and capital can generate the profit. The entrepreneurial vision is defined by discovery and risk taking and is an indispensable part of a nation's capacity to succeed an ever changing and more competitive global market space. So, uh, I think my network is quite slow here. So, I have to switch off this camera. It's like we are talking about entrepreneurship. It can be classified into multiple categories. Like if we are talking about whether we are talking about small scale, whether we are talking about large scale, or we are talking about multinational companies, national companies, or international companies. So basically, in a nutshell, if anyone who has the will and determination to start a new company and deals with all its risks that go with it can become an entrepreneur. Is actually an item or service, as I told you in the start. Now, it can be tangible or intangible. That means it can be a physical or virtual. Physical products include durable goods like cars, furniture, or computers, and non durable goods like food, beverages. Now, when we are talking about virtual products or the services or experiences will come under this particular category. That means education, software, streaming services, etc. The product may also be hybrid. It can be the combination of two things like it can be physical as well as virtual. So it's like kitchen appliances where um, it has its own mobile application or health watches. What it happens is like we have a tangible and intangible product at the same time. Before going to the prototyping, which we have discussed, we should know that how the product has been developed, what kind of life cycle we can actually follow. So basically a live concert, shampoo, or a fitness app, these all are the example of products, but the similarity between them are few. This is part of what makes product development so exciting. Endless possibilities exist to create new offering for all kind of customers. So you people, if you really would like to go ahead and you find out the details of these phases, you can go ahead and check this book also. So actually, all of these activities, as I told you, will absolutely be performed between the start of the development and the time when we have a successful product on the market. Now, our job is to see that they can be done in ordinary and efficient manner. There is no necessary that you should follow this particular process, but the sequence actually gives you um, most efficient way to generate these activities and develop a particular product. The importance of the sequencing cannot be overstated, but I would say that a reasonable sequence throughout the project going to save your time, money, and aggravation. And definitely it is going to save your efforts. So basically, this particular flow chart, this particular figure I'm showing you is broken into more details also. So some of these steps are short, but some of them are very long. Some of them may take a few minutes to think about it, sit together, do the brainstorming, and some of them have building complex and high risk designing. So as mentioned earlier, some steps may be omitted as appropriate according to whatever the product you would like to check and with respect to your product, whether it is tangible or intangible. Now, let me just discuss with the idea detail. So a great idea for a product is the intersection of a cool idea, which is actually just happen in our mind. Then we need to find out what's the need of that idea, whether there is a need in the society, is there any market for that particular product idea, or finding a real problem that can be solved by this particular idea. You have to fine tune the idea to solve most of the problem. Now, few things feel more worse than spending what? Substantial time on an effort that's not enjoyable, going nowhere else, could have been better spent doing something else. So basically, this, as the popular expression says, well, that's precious time of my life, and I will never get. So I really need some planning here. So we can be smart about how we would like to spend our hours. Our first job once is to do a reality check, do the preliminary planning on it. Does this idea actually just ask following questions to yourself, that whether this idea is going to make sense at all? Then, in other words, is there a reasonable possibility that the return will be greater than the efforts? So products detail begin to take shape even in the earliest part of the feasibility planning. Since it helps to know what the product is, when guesstimating cost, basically when we start with the idea, we are just guessing. We are not doing any particular effort to calculate the efforts in the terms of time and in the terms of money, that whether the guessing, we are just simply guessing the estimated cost, market values, timelines, and further. So basically, here you can use ballparking, and you can go ahead and check the ground rules. You can go ahead and set the stakeholders. So basically, these things going to answer you what will be your product, what will be your product, how many people are going to use your product. That means whether there is a market for that particular product or not, how much might they pay for it, how much effort is required, how much cost it will take from the start to the final product. So this preliminary planning is going to help you in finding out that. Next, definitely, whenever you have planned something, you should check its reality. That most of the time in product development is spent on carefully growing lovely trees, but once in a while we need to pull back a bit and examine the final product. Does the whole thing seem to hang together? At this point, all we have to group the seedlings. But does it look like these seedlings? Is there any reasonable shot of becoming a final product, or are they already vanishing? So we are pretty confident in the technical and business success of a new product usually takes a fair bit of planning. Certainly most more than the surface scratching we have done so far. But before we do even that work, we should make a preliminary assessment as to whether we have a reasonable shot at the success or not. If the thing's obviously a loser, we can cut bait now and move on to the landing bigger fish. So if we decide that our concept has a good chance of success, in our next phase, we will go on spend substantial effort filling in the details required to make a final decision. So before going to the detailed planning, you should check that whether there is a possibility for your product, whether it is going to be a success or not. You need to compare it with the market values and everything. So in fact, at the end, you should be optimistic, but I would say that optimism is best when tempered with the good does of the worry. In most of the cases, there will be a mixture of opportunities, and I would say that dangerous as well. So the first reality check is very much required. every new opportunity has a good bit of risk. So my suggestion is to look for big potential upside and risk that seem manageable. If things look good, then we can decide to proceed further. Our next step is to create a detailed set of blueprint for developing our product with detailed planning. So developing a product of any sophistication is a big deal. For projects that go beyond the labor of love, folks investing resources into the venture would like to have a pretty accurate idea of what they are actually building and the time and the cost related to that product to market, which is going to, at this point, we have the whole idea about my product, that whether it is a pretty good idea or not, what our product will do, what it will look like, what efforts will be intended to create it, what will cost to manufacture it, how we will market and sell it, and the potential return for our effort. At the last step, we are going to do the development. So these are the three activities you need to do. That is